Welcome to the IAG Thursday Thing. This is the last IAG Thursday Thing of 2023. 2023 was a hell of a year for myself. It's the first year we did all the podcast stuff. You know, we had a fairly successful season within Time Attack, and yeah, honestly, we really had a good time this year. This is the first year in a long time where I wasn't just desperately waiting for the new year to show up because I needed this year to get done. Like I a lot of good things happened this year, and it's awesome because it's a massive change. Because man, my 2019 was a disaster. 2020 was a disaster. You know, it was one horrible thing after another all the way until 2023. You know, I had a couple of good years recently, but man, they were just problems in their own. And then 2023, we're in a good spot, so can't complain. So yeah, 2023 wasn't bad. Essentially what everybody does before the new year is they tend to make resolutions and you know, things that they want to accomplish for the next year. And you know, I'm no different here. When you're building a race car, though, a system that I adopted, actually a friend of mine taught this to me, and now I use it with every car I build, and that's starting to flow over into people who help me build cars. They start doing the same thing. I mean, I think Dylan has started using this on all his projects, but essentially what we call it is a tape list. And if you don't know what a tape list is, what you do is you take painter's tape and a Sharpie, and you just start writing down everything you need to do on the car. And I mean, it's right down to, you know, torque lug nuts. Every single thing you can. You either stick it on the hood or you stick it on the windshield or both, depending on how big the list is. And some of these things are going to be fairly broad. Some of them, you know, may break out into other things. But if you know, one of these can be, let's say you make it fairly broad. It's you know, repair the wiring, which is something that needs to happen on Boogie. You know, and what that can break down into is after you go, okay, we need to repair the wiring. Where do we start? Well, first thing we got to do is decide how we're going to do the wiring. Are we going to do a PDM or not? Yada, yada, yada. But every time you add you know, you need to do something, you need to add something to the tape list. But the beauty of this is when you accomplish stuff, you get to rip the tape off. And the other nice thing about this is if somebody else goes and looks at your car, or they're helping you, you know how you end up with a lot of situations where people want to help, but they don't know what to do? The tape list is great. They can look at the tape list, go through and go, I think I can do that, and then they'll go do that. And then they can rip the tape off. Tape lists are awesome. Warranty, he understands the tape list really well. Tape lists feel great. I'm going to bring my boy up. What up, Warranty? How you doing?
Perfect timing.
Dude,
hello.
Voice sounds so milky and perfect with this new mic.
Oh, good. I'm actually, let's see here. I got to change it. I'm on the pods again. How about now?
Oh, no.
Should be better.
Way better. You were on the, yeah, it was like, man, that sounded great, and then it didn't. So Warranty went and got himself a nice mic. So Warranty can help me co-host this. So if he gets a chance to help co-host, I bring him over, which is awesome. But do you remember some of the tape lists we used to have on Boogie way back in the day? And they were huge.
Yes, I did. I did. Sorry, go ahead.
This is the thing I want to bring up. Like, Warranty, he'll be the first one to tell you, is not, you know, ungodly mechanically inclined, but he knows his way around things. So if there's something like clean this, or things he knows how to do, he can look at the tape list and go, I can take care of that. And then he'll go and do that. And you don't even got to tell him. I'm telling you, if you're working on a car, especially with a bunch of people, tape list. Can't stress it
Yeah.
enough. Talk about
got
the
it
tapeless,
from
Monty.
I got it from Savannah Little, and it was one of
Yes.
those things that was so basic it was obvious and it was helpful. So yeah, I like Dewey said, I'm really not that much of a car guy in terms of mechanics, but like I can clean things and I just like to be organized. So yeah,
Yep.
gosh, there was so much to get done on Boogeyman that didn't really take a whole lot of skill. It just took a lot of time. So that's what I
Yep.
would do. Tape lift.
Yep. Warranty did a whole lot of bitch work on Boogie at one point.
Yeah, gosh, separating the harness for the ABS sensors because you were going to a standalone ECU, but you were keeping, I think, '07 STI stock ABS. So we had to pull out the
Yes,
ABS sensors from the stock harness. But yeah, learn a thing, you do a thing, and that's how you win championships.
that's how you win championships. Though it takes a while to get there, we got her done, bud.
That's right.
Speaking of bud, Letterkenny. Letterkenny
God,
came out on Christmas. I got a whole new season of Letterkenny to watch. If you guys ain't watching Letterkenny, you're screwing up. That's all I got to say about that. So the idea behind today's show, if you haven't already heard, is the tape list for next year and what other people's tape list is. Yes, this is their last season, Beth. For Letterkenny. So next season's tape list and then your own personal tape list. And honestly, a lot of people are going to be starting their builds here soon, and I really wanted them to try to take up the tape list concept, because it is super helpful when you're trying to put together a car. And it's the small things tend to get forgotten if you aren't if you don't have that list going. Can't stress enough. Tape list, guys. If you got a project car or something that you need to work on at any point before you take it out next year, tape list. I want to see pictures in the IAG Insiders lounge. I want to see tape lists, pictures of tape lists on people's cars. Okay? Beth, take note. That's what we're asking for. Friday. It's Friday, New Year's tape list picture-a-thon. I want to see everybody's damn projects, and I want to see tape lists.
Pitter patter. Let's get at her.
Pitter patter. Let's get at her. Tape lists. Do them tonight. Go out to your garage with your blue or yellow or whatever color painter's tape you got and a Sharpie and go to town. Can anyone hear anything yet? Sean, are you serious? If you can't hear something, something's wrong, because everybody else can hear me. I don't know what Sean's got.
I can
problems.
hear you just fine.
I know. We're having a great conversation. So, you got any fun plans for New Year's, sir, up in Chicago?
I'm going to visit my mom on Saturday and then get together with some friends, a friend from the consulting firm on Saturday night. Maybe it'll turn into a date.
Female?
She is, yeah.
I'm
maybe
proud
it'll
of
turn
you,
into
bud.
a date.
That's what I'm talking about. So it has absolutely nothing to do with cars or anything, but we're all going to we're going to encourage Warranty to get out there. This is a side quest of the IAG Thursday thing, is Warranty's dating life. So if you next week we want to hear updates on how it went.
What's her name? I will let you know.
What's her name? Change your name if you have to change your name, but we got to give her a name.
Her name's Nancy.
Nancy. Really? Is her name actually Nancy?
No.
Okay, Nancy it is. Nancy sounds like a nice girl.
See, this is actually enlightened self-interest on Dewey's part, because at one point I told him the only thing holding me back from doing car stuff is I got to get my dating life in order. Work is good. Friends is even better than good. And I got everything sorted, but I want to do more dating. So he's like, all right, get that done so we can do more car stuff. Okay,
yeah,
so here we are.
Let's get it sorted. I mean, that's not exactly what I told you, but some of what I told you isn't exactly. We can get a little inappropriate on this this program, but we can't get that inappropriate.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
Tape list for dating. Okay, so on your mirror, I want there to be a tape list. It's required. IG Insiders Lounge. I want it. I want it.
Gosh.
I want the damn tape list. Gonna be
That's
great. Get a
funny.
haircut. Put on cologne.
Yeah, that's more truth than fiction because
Iron
sometimes you got
shirt.
to build yourself rather than a project car. You got to build yourself.
Gonna
So,
be so good. Next year is definitely on board. Okay. Driver
okay,
25 in the chat is saying one thing you got to do next year is definitely onboards. I think I've only seen very few boogie in cars. Okay, in car. I'm assuming what you're saying is you guys want more in car video. And what I will tell you is I 100% agree and I apologize. Okay?
okay, yeah.
Uh,
Let's talk about this. I know where you're
so
going with it. So,
there are things that we need to work on internally. On the problem is not enough priority has been put on that, and it should be. But it becomes one of the last things that I'm thinking about, and one of the last things the team is thinking about. Now, understand how much crazy shit is going on. A lot of people really, really think, and it annoys the shit out of me, because they didn't really see the struggle on how hard it was to do what we did this year. There was so much going on behind the scenes that there's a misconception that we just stomped on everybody and it wasn't hard. Like, we put an ass ton of there was more effort put in this season than any other season period. And that's
all right. Yeah.
no, this is not trying to slight anybody who has helped me in the past. Okay, this is not a slight on the monumental effort of Chach and Sammy back in the day with 6-star and the amount of effort we put in then. But this isn't. But there was things that we had to do to keep the lights on then. You know what I mean? And literally, like, Dylan lived this. The amount of time Dylan had to put into this car between events was nuts. And the amount of time I spent away from home to be there going late was crazy. The amount of driving that happened this year was nuts. We had more events this year than I've ever had. Like, it was nuts. So
Yeah, this kind of falls to me because you had a lot better help this year in the form of like the full faith and credit of IAG. No small part was Dylan himself, as well as Ian and others. And it was still such a huge lift. So you had such good like mechanical help that I should have done more of a focus on social media this year. I did it for PRI, but it's kind of hectic at the racetracks.
It gets nuts at the racetrack because we got 100 other things going on. I'm trying to get all the puke out of my body so I can sit down and not freak out. And we got a lot going on. But, going back to what Driver said, he's right. We didn't get enough. Now, there's some things I'd like to get as far as equipment to where we are guaranteed to get in-car video no matter what. One of the things I'd like to do is get an AIM Smarty Cam. Their new Smarty Cam stuff is really good. A part of me wants to sell a t-shirt that says, I bought this t-shirt to get Dewey a damn Smarty Cam. And all proceeds of that shirt will go straight into buying a Smarty Cam. And then I promise on my end that as long as I'm doing Time Attack, I will make sure I post the raw video of whatever the fast lap was over the weekend. So,
I like the sound of that.
That would be, and the cool thing about the Smarty Cam is not only will it take the video, because it's permanently mounted and it's powered off of the car itself. But you're going to get the same video every time, and it's going to overlay data. So you guys will be able to see speed. You'll be able to see, RPM. You'll be able all the stuff that we want to monitor. We'll be able to put up there and see it. Maybe we can put, like oil temp and things like that. We can have a really good time with that. So
one of the things I've noticed is when I try to play with the GoPros, I set up the GoPro when you had your fire at Laguna Seca. Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't really use GoPros that much. And I set it up wrong. So it was doing like horizontal smoothing. So the camera was constantly panning left and right, trying to keep things smooth. Not what you want for Laguna. So if something is just plug and play, Yes, more of that, please. So much
I
easier to.
still want to have helmet cam because helmet cam is just a really fun dynamic view and it's better at showing what I'm doing. But driving footwork motion picture. um,
Yeah,
but yeah.
that's a goal. That's a goal of mine, to be honest, is getting, foot cam and then sync it up with onboard and then a helmet cam. Be great. I don't want to do the video editing, but at least getting it working would be pretty cool.
So what Heavy Metal WRX is saying, and he's right, you have to have the mindset that everything that you see that could be useful for a post, every little thing that I see basically needs to be a post. When you focus on the car, it's so easy to forget all of that, and that's the problem. Is when we're there, our focus is on keeping that car alive. Honestly, in a perfect world, what we need is somebody else to catch what's going on. Because there's some there's memes happening all the time. Like there's good times. I want to take everybody on the ride. You know what I mean? That's something that me personally, I'd really like to do is take everybody on the ride with us. So
yeah, and to be fair, this goes without saying, but it's worth repeating. On a weekend, Dewey's only focused on driving, and that's a compliment because it takes all of it to pilot Boogeyman. The
that
fact
was
that
this year.
yeah,
Years
yeah,
before, a lot of people don't get this. I didn't get to do that. It was a constant. It
oh
was
yeah.
slaving on that car. It was slaving on that car.
Like people, especially lizard brains, don't have infinite bandwidth, so a lot of it's taken up by driving, and then the rest of it's keeping the car together, and no time for anything
Especially
else.
ADHD lizard brains like myself.
I didn't say it.
It's bad. I am I have the worst. I honestly, I bet you I'd be a significantly faster driver on Adderall. Like, I bet you I'd be incredible. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I have not taken that step, but I think some medication can go a long way for me. It's especially on a track that I get bored at. I've caught myself on Road America with the BRZ, like straight up zoning out and going down the straights.
That's terrifying.
Like it's really bad, man. Like,
you're going maybe 100, 110.
Yeah, but I mean it's flat
fast.
out, and
Right.
like thinking about digging around on the radio. Maybe I should check Facebook. Like these are the things that are going through my head on a racetrack, in the BRZ. And Boogie, you don't get to think about that shit, but I can't even make that up.
That's
like Road
terrifying.
America and a BRZ it's honestly it's ass. Like it's the fucking worst.
I'm telling you, this is why I liked autocross, because you only have time to focus. You don't ever get bored. You never fall asleep in an autocross
You only
course.
have time to focus, and if you're on Gingerman, even with a BRZ, you don't get to think, or you don't get to chill. You're constantly setting up for a corner, and then you get this slight decompression between 10 and 11. Then everything else is setting up for the next corner.
Yep, that's true. Gingerman's a great track in that regard.
Safety Mike, did I forget to turn the oven off? Like, that's what would happen. Elevator music playing the whole thing. Like, it's bad. Oh, man, I can't wait.
Is that why?
We're going to go into that, but
I'm
number
music?
4 on my list is grow the podcast, and one of the reasons how I want to do that is we're really looking at better equipment, and better equipment's going to be able to take this up. Like right where I read elevator music playing, I want to have a button for elevator music. I want to have opening and closing music. Like there's a lot of these things I want to have ready to go. And they're not right now. And I want to be able to adjust levels and things like that, but honestly a good soundboard could really take this to a different level. So
yeah, it's a good idea. It needs to be simple, but
no, simple. I'm 100% simple, but we could you could add some audio things into this. Really, really take it up. Just entertaining. This is supposed to be fun. Remember? I don't know.
Oh, sick intro track, early January. Hell yeah!
Oh my god, my guy! Everybody throw Heavy Metal WRX a like right now. What a dude!
Oh.
Okay, Heavy Metal WRX says he's got an intro track coming early January. What a dude!
You got the best people in your corner.
I'm telling you, man. I love this community. Why the hell would I ever leave? Kyle, go buy a Subaru. You'll have a great time. Come on. One of us. One of us. Kyle, you're still one of us. You're just the weirdo in a Supra.
And we got to get together and just do some testing on this podcast thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure
We'll have a
I'm
great
sure it's
time.
out there. Physical soundboard and then probably record it. I don't know how you'd record it live, but I'm figure it out, you know.
Well,
Take like
with
an
this
hour.
the new unit that I'm gonna have 2 mics. 2 good mics that recording live will actually be super easy. I actually don't need a computer to do it.
Nice. Do it on the iPad or do it directly on the device? On the
I can do it
machine?
directly onto the device.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Level that up.
Super stoked. All right. So I made my own tape list. We might as well go through that. And although I made it kind of tongue in cheek, that tape list that I used in the thumbnail was pretty much it. So first thing is catch on fire less. People think that I only caught on fire once this year. No, it was only once that you saw.
Oh my gosh.
I think I caught on fire 4 times this year. 3 of them, though, were caused by my old turbo kit. All right, and
let's slow down. Hold on. So let's talk about this.
Yes.
Your previous turbo kit was really good, and it was made it to that Borg Warner 8474, which is a killer setup. However,
it was decent.
Yeah, but it was for street use that you just went crazy with on the racetrack.
I agree with that, and I don't. Okay, I think the turbo kit was good for its time. And it would have been totally fine for street use. Okay? And there's a couple of things that happened with this turbo kit that really messed a bunch of stuff up. Safety Mike.
Oh, it's me.
Mike's
I recognize those long legs anywhere. Yeah.
It's one of the times I caught on fire.
Great photo.
So okay, back to where I was at. What a dick. That turbo kit, so it was a twin scroll kit from a prominent company. I don't want to throw this company under the bus because it honestly wasn't their fault. But what ended up happening is I have a dry sump on the car. And if I were to have just ran that turbo kit normally, it would interfere with the dry sump because it replaces the pan, the snout of that comes off the bottom, and that the gear off of that is turned by a gear in the timing. The geared timing idler is extended, and that turns your oil pump. So that sits off on the bottom of the engine. And so our fix for that originally was we took this twin scroll turbo kit, we hacked the top runner out and lowered it down a little bit and welded it back in. Well, that was the start of our problems because it wasn't structurally sound from there on out. Things got slightly tweaked when that was all welded together. We learned a lot from this. This makes better, this was done a little while ago, and, you learn a lot, okay? What originally was happening is it was cracking in certain areas on the actual header before the up pipe. But after we got that fixed later on down the road, and understand because this was twin scroll, and this engine, we were asking this engine to do a lot and rev its nuts off. We were making an insane amount of exhaust back pressure, which we found out was probably causing a lot of the engine failures. If you can see pictures of my car, like those Larry Chen photos, remember those back in the day? And everybody being like, holy crap, your rotors are glowing. But Chach and I, the thing that we saw was, holy crap, my up pipe is like glowing red all the way down to the merge.
That's wild.
It is crazy. It isn't the hot side of the turbo hot. It's all the way down to the merge.
Yeah.
Was glowing.
And it's robbing you of horsepower.
It is and it isn't. But the problem is it's a lot of back pressure. Um,
That's the
it's a lot
horsepower
of back
drain.
pressure and it's really
Yeah.
hard on the engine. Okay, so let's say it's robbing me of efficiency.
Sure.
So either way, what ended up happening is sooner or later after we got that fixed, things started to warp because it was getting so hot that the uppipe flanges were no longer flat, and we flattened them and we tried all sorts of stuff. Then in the end, we even tried to switch to a V-band setup down there, but we couldn't get them to last any amount of time without splitting and spewing freaky hot exhaust gases all over the place. And
Yeah, and V-bands clamps are like the nice clamps
yeah,
for keeping things together. So
and
very sketchy to have
yeah,
those things fail on
but
you.
when you heat that stuff up so much,
Mhm.
it expands, you know?
Yeah,
And that's what was happening is stuff was just getting crazy hot, expanding, warping, doing all sorts of stuff. It wouldn't have mattered who built what there.
right.
It wasn't happening. Now, with all this stated, I want to make sure I'm sponsored by Garrett. I love Garrett. Okay, we use a lot of Garrett turbos here, and I don't want to. I'm not saying anything cross about them because I love the product and I love what it's doing for me, and it's fantastic. But I do need to give a shout out to the two Borg Warner turbos that I ran. People give EFRs a lot of shit. Both of those turbos, the 8374 and 8474, I beat the snot out of those things for 5 straight years. And the turbos were fine. Well, I guarantee we overspun the shit out of those turbos on multiple occasions. They just laughed at it. When I pulled the 8374 out, I had exhaust blades that were chipped all to hell.
Oh, holy
And
cow!
it still ran fine. Like there was nothing wrong with it other than it needed the exhaust wheel replaced.
Wow,
I didn't
overspeeding a
know until we
turbo,
pulled.
dude. Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, you're good.
Overspeeding a turbo, when it fails, it just explodes. So that could have been way
Now,
worse.
Because of the newer uses of materials on modern Borgs and modern Garretts, overspeeding those turbos is not only is it a lot easier to do, but it's a lot more catastrophic. If you were to get one of those old diesel Borgs or, even Garrett's older GT series stuff, like their GTX or GT stuff, they don't care as much. Like, I'm not saying you could go forever like that, but like if you spend any amount of time overspeeding these newer high-end turbos, it can be a serious problem. Be an extremely serious problem. So
another thing to say real quick about that old header setup was Graham won the Street Mod Championship on that setup. So
yeah.
By no means bad. It was just
I had a copy and pasta of what he was doing there.
Mm-hmm.
So
just had to take it to the next level.
Yeah. So the big fix for fires in general was going to ETS, helped us out with a custom turbo kit that was built from the ground up to clear our dry sump. And that went to a single scroll setup, so there was only one V-band I had to worry about, and it just worked. And even though that turbo kit and the header sits very low, that didn't cause any issues other than Dylan pulling his hair out because I somehow kept destroying header wrap. We're looking into alternatives to that. But I guess number 3 and number 1 go together, but then unfortunately at the end of the season, we had that misshift. It threw the rod, oil got onto the header, which was covered in header wrap, and it caught on fire. And that was the one everybody saw. Mike knows different because Mike's seen me catch on fire a bunch, but a lot of people think that. So either way, we're gonna the plan for next year is less fire. And this year, one of the things with less fire is we're going to change up where the spray comes from everybody's like, you need to get some sort of fire suppression in the car. I have fire suppression in the car. It just wasn't firing at the right spot. We're going to change where we're going to spray it. So we're already looking into alternative ways of doing that. So, yeah, less firewood is going to be awesome. Oh, hold on. Dylan wants to say something. Invite. Dylan, what's up, my guy?
Hola. How are you?
I'm good.
Holidays,
Just
Mr.
out
Dylan.
here talking about the 5 greatest rappers
Of all time.
of all time.
Yeah, I've been running around like a chicken with his head cut off, so I've actually wanted to jump in here for a minute. Earlier when we were talking about, or when you were talking about the tape list, one of the big things that kind of stuck with me, like stuck out for the tape list, was even just in between sessions, we would write something down like, hey, this either needs to get looked at, or this is how the car's feeling, or hey, this would be really nice to have, and tape it to the dash.
Yep.
We did that a whole bunch.
We have a nice to have section, and it yep, our dash, like there's many times we went out where we'd have tape on the dash, stuff that we still wanted to get done over the weekend or whatever, alignment changes, things like that. Yep.
Yeah. The fire suppression system, I wanted to touch on. So the bottle is actually like one of the smaller bottles, and it can only support so many nozzles. And so I have a theory that, I mean, it has the appropriate amount of nozzles, but you gotta think when you pull that pin, it's going in 4 different directions. So I don't know if that bottle is big enough. Honestly, I would like to see it increase in size, and the bottle that we have on board in the car with you, just in case, God forbid, we actually need it in a dire moment.
Yeah, like let's say I'm in the car, bad things are happening. Yeah. I think we need to do a test fire, unfortunately. It's going to suck, but we're going to have to do it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, either way. There's a lot of things that are coming out of the car, in between now and the next race. And so I don't think it's a bad idea either. And we can use it for, marketing purposes if we want, but that way we know too, if we put fire suppression in another car or whatever, we know what it's capable of.
Yep. That's plain. Less fire.
Less fire. Catch on fire less. You actually did forget another time you caught on fire, though.
I did?
Mm-hmm.
Which one was that?
We had a small fire at NJP.
Was that from Clibbins?
Oh yeah.
Or was that?
Oh, yeah.
That was a Clibbins fire, wasn't it?
Yep, it was a Clibbins fire.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, when I went Supermaning through the grass, I guess I caught on fire then too, because we got some hot grass onto the header, and we had a Clibbins fire. It happens.
Yeah.
All right, so we caught on fire 5 times. So
5 times.
3, then the NJMP, then the big one.
I mean, we made it pretty decent track record without catching on fire.
Yeah, I think we did pretty good. Considering how fast we were going and the car's history with catching on fire. I think we dialed it down quite a bit, but I would like there to be less fire. Catch on less fire. Yes. So I guess number 2 on the list is go more fast. And for me, what that entails is there's some things we want to do to the car to go faster. The goal with that, and I've said this a million times, but I want to be the first street mod car to ever go sub 130 on Gingerman, and that's going to take quite a bit more fast. But we've got a pretty good plan. Dylan and and we've got some really cool stuff coming in the future. Graham actually let one of them out of the bag. we're switching from Haltech, who has been good to us, and but we've got some stuff we need to accomplish, and unfortunately, how we need to do it, we don't believe that's going to work out well. We're switching to an M-tron for the ECU, and that has been made officially official. So we're going to be working with M-tron next year, and with that means we're changing out the entire wiring harness. Some of that is due to necessity, since half of the wiring harness is now cooked. But
It was going to get done either way.
it was getting done, but now we're going straight to an M-tron. And since we're redoing the harness, we're going to redo the harness the right way, and we're going to a PDM, which we're pretty excited about the PDM setup for sure. So going to a PDM. Dylan wants to do a very serious motorsport style harness. I'm kind of excited to see how that works out. The connectors alone are expensive as hell, but would be sick.
For the upgrades, you're not just adding horsepower. You're doing other things.
Oh, and we'll show pictures and stuff as we go, but I mean, we still have the most rudimentary aero in the class. Like, there's some extremely low-hanging fruit with aero, and some extremely low-hanging fruit with suspension setup.
Yeah. Yeah, the say the least. I mean...
Yep. There's very, very low-hanging fruit there. We have some people who want to work with us, which...
It might as well be on the ground.
Official, but, yeah. No, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. So we're pretty excited about some of the ideas that we have and how that's going to work out. We got some of the engineers kind of poking around in it after hours, thinking about these things and ideas that they want to go with. Yeah, I doubt we're going to carbon. We don't need to go to carbon, honestly. Personally, I wish we were still on the plywood splitter. I said it. I like the design of our splitter now. I like the design of it, but I wish it was still plywood.
I knew that was coming.
It's great. Being able to say you're whooping their ass with a plywood splitter is the best part.
So good.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Dewey and I wouldn't say fought, but debated.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, on going to Alumilite. But I do have the template on the saved, so we can always cut it out of plywood for shits and gigs.
Hell, we can cut it out of anything now, which is super cool. Like, that's really what we needed, was the ability to do that. There's honestly the new hood. Oh, you know what? These are things I need to add to this list. I need a new hood.
The Sivon carbon hood is torched.
She done. And you can see it in the picture, like, it done. So
keep it. Put it on the wall, Vermont sports car style.
We might do that. I'm sure Dylan wouldn't be sad about, a wall ornament.
I already gotta hang the radiator.
Might as well hang the hood too.
Absolutely.
So we'll I think the venting is going to be a little different, and on the way through, one of the things I would really like to do is relocate the oil cooler to a different location. Though we finally got it to work well this year, I think we can make it work better in a different location. But we'll see. We will see. But these are things we can do to go more faster. Improvements in aero are going to be a big one. And do an M-tron, and some of the abilities that the M-tron will allow should actually help with number 3, which is shift better. Let's honestly, I felt like I shifted okay this year, but she got a little it got a little funky at the end of the year. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm sure some of this is maybe we got some synchros that are wearing out. I got some bushings that might be wearing out, but some of it's definitely me. Some of it is definitely me, and I need to work on that. So if we can find time in other places, I won't feel so like stressed to try to smash the thing into gear. But we actually had a pretty reliable season as far as the transmission goes this year, which is good. But the M-Tron, if we go over to a drive-by-wire setup, we're going to be able to play some games with going up and down, and it should make everything just glide in quite a bit better. Should make the car a lot less upset, leaving corners and coming into corners, being able to use the brakes a little more effectively. I'm pretty stoked to see what we can do. So shift better is one of them. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about today is grow the podcast. Oh, actually, we've got two more we got to talk today. Grow the podcast is definitely something that I want to do. This is very important to me, and I love this podcast, and I want more people to listen to it. And one of the ways we're going to do that is improve the quality of it. So we're going to work on that. Warranty getting a mic was pretty fucking spectacular.
You're welcome. I'll bring it with me to the racetrack.
You got to bring it everywhere you go. It's now just a part of your body.
Yeah, something like that.
Actually, I kind of want you to get two of them so I can send you on location to people who are kind of near you.
I actually have two. So you let me know. I'll bring my setup. I'll go.
Fantastic. I want you to drop it on D. Alex Butler.
Absolutely.
So yeah. That's then the last one. I think Dylan might have added this, but it is actually something that bugs me. I really wanted Dylan to do a few laps in this thing at a minimum. And every time we were in a position for that to happen, Dylan got screwed.
Something fatally bad happens.
Yeah, the rear end of the car starts falling out. You were supposed to be able to drive it at Heartland.
Right.
We had all the time in the world. They wouldn't have gave two shits. Nobody was on track. But the whole ass of the car decided it wanted to fall out. And then, I really wanted you to be able to take it for a lap or two on Laguna. And that we probably could have made that happen too.
So I was hoping to do rollers at Laguna. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it would have been sick. I just wanted you to be able to, even if you just went out there and ran some, wastegate boost, just parade laps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kills me that you didn't get to drive the car last year and really get to drive it. You did some break-in stuff, but you didn't get to drive the car.
I drove it home.
But it ain't the same. It is not the same. And I really next year that's going to be a much higher priority. Yeah, I don't care. You driving that car to me is right up there with winning another championship. So,
damn, it's high praise.
Yeah. Well, Dylan deserves it. Really deserves it. The amount of time he has put into this damn car, at a minimum, he should be able to do a few laps.
100% agree.
So,
yeah.
So who else has got some tape lists? Dylan, what's your tape list for next year?
Oh, geez. You know what? I'm still processing this year.
I know one of them. You got a freaking legacy you're trying to get running.
Yep. Yeah,
that's got to be fairly high.
Yeah, the cylinder heads are getting finished up probably next week, and there's some other stuff in the car that I'm trying to tackle as well, and that way I can take the vet off the road because, as great as daily driving Corvette every day is, the gas mileage has become not so great.
Yeah. Yeah. And your gas mileage would be fine if you didn't have El Chapo cam in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But what's the point? If you're going to buy a Corvette.
You're going to have a Corvette, you got to do Corvette things.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Driver 65 from the chat. Somebody had a VA STI. What would be a go for a reliable 450 horsepower track street dual duty vehicle?
We're going to get to that at the end when I want to talk about that. Well, we are going to get to that. I want to get through, and then we're going to go through. And if you have guys, if you have tape lists that you want to share with us, share it in the chat. If you got any questions, make sure you put it in the chat. We're going to do chat at the end, where I go through and answer questions. We're going to start trying to stick to a format. Damn it.
Sorry, man.
Damn it.
Send me the tape list.
Sorry. We got to put the tape list up. All right. So what you've got to get your legacy done, Dylan, and you've got a million things that I know are in your brain for Boogie. Anything else you want to do?
Really, the timeline we have to rebuild Boogie and kind of everything else has really been the biggest, I guess my number one tape list is making sure we're on schedule with that and everything else I got going on.
Yeah.
I wasn't, coming into this season with you. I also was not expecting it to go the way it went. So I feel a little bit more pressure on me to perform at that same level, this season. And so it's just a constant improvement in myself and my ability and just kind of growing as an individual. I want to actually, one thing is I want to learn how to start learning how to tune. Just so I have the knowledge under my belt and have a little bit better of an understanding rather than just being able to look at logs and look at what's going on. I want to be able to have the understanding of making changes if I need to.
Sure.
So, well, that's just like tune my own cars,
Yep. No, for sure. I bet you Graham would be down to help you poke around with that too.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. How about you, Warranty? What do you got? You got any fun tape list shit?
Yeah. So upcoming year, we'll start with the important ones first. As you all know, I'm an actuary. I need to pass another one of my exams because it's been a few years. Besides that, obviously work hard in my day job, ride the bike more, and make time to relax because I'm not super good about that. My idea of relaxing is honestly just thrashing at the racetrack, doing the little that I can.
Hey, you skipped over the entire thing. What about Nancy? Nancy's important.
Yes, that's right. Get to know Nancy, see where it goes.
Get to know Nancy. Okay, that's high priority on the tape list. Get to know Nancy. Nancy, she's going on a date.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh, it's an old coworker, wonderful person. When we talk, she just the time rolls by, which is awesome. I love talking to people. So she's one of the good ones.
So we're gonna, as a podcast, live vicariously through Warranty and adventures with Nancy.
Where are you guys going for a date?
We haven't decided yet. So there's a restaurant here in the city I'd like to go to. Oh, hear me out. So we'll either go out to the diner out in the suburbs that I've been going to for a long time. They know me by my first name, or we'll go to a restaurant in the city. So he and I have been texting back and forth, but we're both slammed with work this week, so we'll get it nailed down before Saturday night.
Nancy.
I'm going to tell her that she made it on a podcast.
Yes. And her name is Nancy, and she should make a fake Discord and come on and have a conversation sometime. That would be hilarious. She just is Nancy now. It's so great. So I wonder what Jake Martin has got going on his tape list, because Jake down there in the chat, Jake's got a nice H6 swap GC. He's doing a bunch of grid life, and he is trying to make a Club TR Impreza with an H6 work. I'm looking at you. He's typing something. I'm waiting for him to see what we got here. Let's make it where I can last for a whole week. Hey, that's actually a good thing to have on the tape list. 24-year-old car things. I know all about 24-year-old car things. So, yeah. Well, why don't we talk about driver 25's question here real quick, because I think we're in the right area for that. If one had a VISTI, what would be the go for a reliable, I assuming setup for a reliable 450 horsepower track street dual duty vehicle? Now, hold on. Is this, I have a VASTI, what would be my other vehicle? Or am I turning my VASTI into a track vehicle? I don't think he's in here anymore.
He's not. I'd say answer it both ways.
Okay, so if I had a VASTI and I wanted it to be a track/street dual duty vehicle, first off, I would tell you, if you're doing track/street, don't get hung up on a horsepower number. You're doing this for an experience. So what you want is you want to think about doing this. You want to build this for an experience vehicle. So you want it to be reliable, but you want it to be fast enough to keep up with. You say 450 horsepower, but really what you're saying is I want to be able to hang with vets on track. You know, that's really what the answer is here. So what I'd probably tell you to do is get yourself like a start with a block. We need to get something reliable in there. I would do something like an IAG 750. If you're doing a full long block, great. If not, the 750 with a good set of head studs and put a good oil pump on it, like our stage 2 pump, and a good pan. Awesome. Okay, great place to start. Then you do the basic ethanol mods. You're going to need, you're going to be right in between being able to do 1300s with that. 1300 should get you to where you need to be. You're going to need some sort of decent front mount intercooler. You really are going to have to think about cooling with a VA. So you need a really good radiator, and you need an oil cooler that is not in front of either of those other heat exchangers. So you'd probably have to do a custom oil cooler. But the turbo I'd go with, this is going to blow some people's minds. My favorite turbo on the market for this power level is actually a Blausch 1.5 XTR. It's great. It does everything you need it to do. It spools almost as fast as stock. You got a huge area under curve. And if you push it, you can make 450, but the reality of it is it's going to make low 400s, low to mid 400s, and it's what you need. But it responds quick, and it just does what you need it to do. A 1.5 XTR is great. It's sized really well. Do the 3-inch inlet and the 10-centimeter hot side no matter what. And that setup would work great. Run it on ethanol when you're on the track. Keep good oil in it. And, past that, you're going to need a good 18 by 9.5 or 10 wheel tire combo setup. So with like a 255, a decent 200 tread wear tire. You don't have to go bleeding edge 200 tread wear, but something that can put up with a little bit of heat. So like a Hankook RS4 or something like that you'd have a lot of fun with that. A good set of coilovers. Spend some money on your suspension because you got to drive it on the street too. I'd recommend something like a Fortunato 510. Set of sway bars and maybe a few different bushings. Past that, honestly, I wouldn't touch a damn car. I'd leave it right there. That's a good setup.
Okay, and if it was a non-Subaru, what would it
well,
be?
no, let's have a conversation. It's if I have
Corvette.
a VASTI.
Corvette.
If I have a VS, what would be the go-to if I was going to get a different vehicle and it wasn't going to be a Subaru? As much as I hate agreeing with Dylan right now, he ain't wrong. Like, go get yourself a C5 Z06 and do a couple of mods to it.
Or if you can spare the change, a C6.
If you can spare the change, a C6 is going to be a better car, but a C5 Z06 has got everything you really want, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
If all you're doing it for is track use, you really don't care that the interior is ass and whatever. And everything's been figured out about that damn car. So that's a really straightforward, easy setup if you're looking for 450. If you're going to do it with a Subaru, keep your VASTI nice and use that as a daily. and you want to do it with a Subaru, my recommendation would be go pick up a fucking Bug-Eye. Start with a GD chassis base-ish car. And the reason I'm telling you to do a Bug-Eye more so than I ever have before in the history of ever saying this is GD STI pricing is going insane right now. You can't get into a clean one for under 25, but you can find a clean Bug-Eye chassis for $3,000. You'd probably drive the damn thing home. Okay, and yeah, you're gonna dump another $10,000 in drivetrain and basic parts, and then you're gonna throw another little bit in it. But you're gonna have to do a lot of this stuff to the STI also. But you're not gonna feel bad when you kind of start hacking stuff up in that Bug-Eye. The GD chassis for Subarus is like our Fox body. You can do anything with it. It's seriously, it's really good.
Saw a 08 hatch on the market the other night. That was a rolling shell, needs an engine, and I had a hard time not doing that and just taking everything out of the Outback and putting it in that thing. But it was fairly priced.
That is the next best deal in Subarus right now is 08 to 12. No, sorry, 08 to 10 STIs. Okay, so they're only hatchbacks, but you can find them for anywhere between 12 and 15 grand. I saw one the other day that was like 10.5 that just had a ton of miles on it. And those things are super solid. Now they have their problems. Okay, but if you're going into it at that price, you're going to be doing things to this car. You're going to be replacing the engine. You're going to be, fixing a lot of the problems to it. When you have it all apart, it's pretty easy to fix the firewall problem. It's a solid setup. Honestly, if you were to want to put a separate car together, I think the Bug-Eye would end up being the better of the two, but it might be less work to do the 08 to 10 STI because it's going to come with a 6-speed. It's going to come with the diffs and all that. All that's going to already be there. So, yeah, but you are going to have, GR STI issues. You're going to the multi-link suspension, things like that, and there's ways to make that work. Don't get me wrong, but there's definitely a reason I scream GD chassis all the time, and I'm gonna continue to scream it. It's the correct answer to build a track slut out of a Subaru, and that's coming from somebody who just won a Street Mod Championship in a GC. I'm gonna tell you the GD is the right answer.
Now, question: would you start with an STI, or would you start with a generic GD chassis and then put a wiring harness in it to get what you want?
It depends on how hardcore track slut you're going, but honestly, I would start with a Bug-Eye, so it only came in WRX here in the States. I would get a WRX specifically, 0203 WRX, and just be prepared. You're throwing a standalone in it. You're going to be doing a lot of this stuff. There's going to be wiring involved with it. You're going to be sourcing 6 speeds and diffs and all sorts of shit. Half of that car is getting thrown in the garbage. But it's the right chassis. Everything fits. It's got plenty of wheel tire clearance to throw 255s on a 10.5 under there. You don't have to wide body it or anything like that. Aerodynamically, it's a brick, but it's no more of a brick than anything else. And there's a lot of aftermarket for that stuff that still exists. Finding the aftermarket pieces for those cars all still exists. It's very easy to get that stuff. It's an older car, don't get me wrong, but it's very easy to get these things. It's still, to me,
when you put an STI transmission in it, wire up DCCD, please.
Yes, for God's sake. Don't run around with an open diff. There are 6 speeds out there that don't have DCCD. You can still have a very good time with them, but if you're building a track slut, get the one with DCCD. I can hear just fine. Just make sure your settings didn't change or unplug anything. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. All right.
I need to figure out like a better mic situation for me because I'm like using obviously an earbud because I'm working.
Yeah. Why don't we? I got a couple of ideas that let me look into that. Maybe we'll just leave something at work for you. So on Thursdays you can pop on.
I'm on AirPods right now too. I left my new mic at home
Oh
or at the
man,
office.
your AirPods sound fantastic this time. By the way, Dylan's don't even sound bad this time. But your new mic is butter.
That's good to know. I'm on my laptop. When we tried it the first time, I was on my tablet, so that's good to know.
Yeah, you sound okay. Like
Okay.
you're not beautiful. You sound okay.
Okay. Good enough. Good enough for government work.
Chris Cortez literally described my exact build on my VA street track car. Yeah. I don't know if you talked to me before, but that's what I've told everybody to do. Wait, not a Miata? No, I'm not gonna. Miatas are great, but they said 450. Now, if you weren't gonna do 450 horsepower, at this point, I wouldn't even recommend a Miata. I would tell you, I might get slayed for this. If you can get into a new BRZ, go get a new BRZ with a 2.4 liter. Do the very basics. Overfill, run a 5W40 and do a slight overfill. And here soon, there will be a very nice baffle for that pan, and that'll fix pretty much anything we had any issues with right hand cornering in those cars. And then never touch that damn thing again. It'll make 230 wheel on basic bolt-ons and a tune, and you do basic suspension and tires, and that's all you need. Car's great. So,
oh,
I don't
man,
know.
that reminds me. Oil pan, some nice tires, and that's like Tsukuba ready. The new BRZ and GR86 is so good out of the box that it was
It's
like
so
nearly
It's
a
so-
minute flat at Tsukuba.
they gutted that car down to the,
That's okay. They put big old R-Comp tires on it too, but it's outrageous. That used to be a really hard bar to clear. Sub
it
1
used
minute.
to need boatloads of horsepower to do it.
Right.
I can't stress how good that chassis is. It's so good. It's so good.
That reminds me, in February, what are you doing?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. That's
What's the weather like in Tennessee in February?
It could be snowing. It could be 70.
Okay. I'm going to have to come visit you. So I ordered the BRZ TS and it comes in February sometime.
Yeah, I mean that's the perfect
love-
time to come down and let's break that thing in. We'll take mine and your new one out, and we'll try to go to different roads than we did last time. We'll go have a great time. Maybe we'll just straight up go over to Tail of the Dragon. Let's just go do it.
That's perfect.
Ooh,
Sounds good to me.
I want in on this.
We'll get your
Absolutely.
damn leggy up, or bring the vet, dude. 2 BRZs
Yeah.
and a vet. That sounds like the weirdest porn ever.
We could do it in March too. We did your bachelor party at
Jake,
at
you
Tail
want
of the
in?
Dragon.
Jake's asking
March.
H6 and Preza too. I tell you what, we could do an IAG Thursday thing, Tail of the Dragon meet. I would be super down for that in February. We, sometime mid-February, we all get together and go to Tail of the Dragon. The best time to go is literally the middle of the damn winter because nobody's there.
Yep.
Ray, come on with. We'll have a great time. Set up a date and I'll request the time off. Okay. Well, let's why don't we all take a look at our calendars, and next week we'll kind of get together and chat about that. I like this idea. That would be a lot of fun. We'll get anybody out there we can. Maybe we can get Foster out there. He can bring his
Mr. Foster.
He'll bring his Type R, which whatever. He'll bring his Type R, but hopefully he'll bring a camera too.
I would love to see what you think of the Hitachi dampers in the BRZ. I already know the answer, but I still want to get it recorded.
What I'm going to tell you is I can't give you a proper assessment until you get good tires on this. So maybe we'll stop, put my wheel tire combo on there, and then go ride again.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
I mean, I'll have wheels and tires there because I'll have my BRZ.
Yeah. I could probably hustle up some 615s.
Need a safe guy? I'm in. Safety Mike is trying to get in on this too. That would be fun. Safety Mike just comes down to hang. That'd be great. We'll just shove him
Beth,
into
come
everybody's
along.
cars.
Yeah,
Safety Mike's riding with people.
even riding shotgun, you'd have a great time.
Oh, it's a really good time. Tail of the Dragon's awesome. Yeah, the best time we're gonna have the best time with Safety Mike if Safety Mike has to do nothing the whole time. I want Safety Mike to have to not even think about shit. If Safety Mike starts doing things, we're probably having a bad time.
Oh yeah.
You didn't do Tail the Dragon right. So, yeah, I think that would be fun. I'm really serious about that. Why don't we maybe Beth and I can make a post in the IAG Insiders Lounge about a Tail of the Dragon get together, and let's feel out a couple weekends, see what everybody's down for, and maybe we can set something like that up. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I got to get the car and then have car will travel.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's try to plan it around like a week or so after your car. You get some break-in miles on the car, and then you can haul ass down there, and we'll see what we can do. I think that would be sick. We can do a review of the TS. That would be fun. We should be able to. I think we could get some good media for that too. It'd be sick if we'll get Foster, and if Foster and Dylan might be able to come, bring the damn 22 WRX. How about that?
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
perfect.
Ooh.
I mean, it'd be perfect for it. Or bring the 22 WRX and bring the BRZ. So bring those two cars out, and then we can do a whole bunch of we could do some weekend media stuff there. And we could basically do an IAG blog from there. That would be a lot of fun. IAG Winter Road Rally, except we're not doing wintry things. We're just, it's cold and nobody's there, so we can kind of do whatever the hell we want. It'd be fun. I guarantee some of the Killboy guys will be there taking pictures or whatever they usually are if the weather's even remotely nice. If not, Killboy now owns that on the end of Tail of the Dragon, that little store. We can go in there and it'd be fun to chat with him a little bit. That'd be fun. Subarus are ridiculously good on that road too. I wish my 05 STI was ready to rock, because I'd take that over the BRZ. That's how good an all-wheel drive Subaru is there. It's stupid fun. It's absolutely insane how fast you can get through there without even having to think about it.
Yeah, that was initial D in real life. That's all I have to say about that.
Yep. Yeah, we had some good times. And then we had the original Sunday Cup champion leading us through there with a frickin' fit, and he's local to that area and made us all look stupid. Like he literally took a Honda Fit and made us all look really dumb. But he knows that road like no other. The local guys are incredible. So
we have a route out in West Virginia that some friends and I usually do once a year, if not more. That's pretty crazy. We usually go out for Memorial Day weekend, but I'm curious to see. I haven't done Tail of the Dragon yet, so I'm curious to see what that would be like.
Tail's a lot of fun, and there's some really good roads around Tail that are a lot of fun. Tail's really cool. It's its own animal, though. And then we'll all make sure nobody crosses the mustard or the mayonnaise. And
yellow lines and white lines do not cross.
Do not cross. And we'll drive by the rules and have a great time. That's really what this is all about, is just having a good time. Yeah, let's try to set that up. I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, I think on that, I think we're going to call it. Yeah. Safety Mike, it'd be great to have you there. So we'll try to put something in the Insiders Lounge, try to plan something out, and then we'll keep talking about it here on the podcast to having everybody there. And You know, depending on when we go, maybe we can even do the podcast there. That would be fun.
Oh,
I mean,
that
how
would be
great would that
perfect.
be? Doing a live podcast at we can go down to the, what the hell is that? The lounge thing there, the lodge, the
Oh yeah, by the
Tobacco
river.
Lodge. Yeah, and then they've got really good food there too, and we could get a big table and we could just do a big podcast of all of us basically just yelling at the mic. It would be fun.
That's a great idea. I love everything about that.
I think this is great. I think it's a great community building experience. Try to get as many people there as we can. So, all right, let's call it at that. This was fun, guys. I hope everybody here does have a good New Year. Please be safe. Okay. You know, don't add to the population. Don't take away from the population. If you do end up in jail, make sure you establish dominance quickly. And yeah, just, you know, honestly, just be safe. Have a great New Year. Enjoy it with the family, and I guess we will see you in 2024.
Yeah, I'll see you next year.
See you next
See
year.
you next year, everybody.